This is Trailers from Hell, and I'm Mick Garris. The first trip I ever made overseas was to London in 1976, and all over the city I saw giant billboards for a movie I was dying to see with Barbara Steele in it called Shivers. Well, it didn't open until after I left, so I had to settle for a German import that looked equally interesting called Tenderness of the Wolves.
In Hanover an der Leine, Rote Gasse Nummer 18. Dort wohnt der Massenmörder Harman, der die Menschen
Tenderness of the Wolves was based on the same horrific child killer case that inspired Fritz Lang's M, which starred Peter Lorre in his first movie. They use the real name of the murderer here, Fritz Harman. It's a much truer version of the story, which was far more hideous than the portrayal in M back in 1931. Peter Lorre's Hans Beckert was a sympathetic child molester, if you can imagine such a thing, driven to doing horrible things off-camera to little children, boys and girls. The real criminal, Harman, played here by the truly disturbing Kurt Raab, was far more sinister and repellent a character. His victims were adolescent boys, and his graphic sex murders are far more overt in this 1973 German film. Not only did Harman murder these boys, he also cut them up, cooked them, and ate their meat, sometimes alone and sometimes with others. Interesting to compare the filmmaking mores of German movies in the 1930s and 1970s. Although M was thought to be very hard-hitting in its time and certainly still packs a punch today, the 70s were a time, particularly in Germany and other European countries, when we looked under rocks to see what squirmed beneath them. Tenderness of the Wolves is incredibly dark, but really a fascinating movie, though you couldn't tell it by the dull and slow-moving trailer we have here. Though it was directed by Uli Lommel, who had some success in the States with a couple of boogeyman movies and some other B-movie horror titles, it more closely reflects the sensibilities of the film's producer, Rainer Werner Fassbinder. Lommel was an actor who was a part of Fassbinder's repertory company and was given the opportunity to direct this film when Fassbinder's hands were too full to do it himself. Fassbinder went on to direct such classic serious works as The Marriage of Maria Braun and Berlin Alexanderplatz, while Lommel, who made two movies with Andy Warhol when he first moved to the States, Cocaine Cowboys and Blank Generation, really defined his career with Boogeyman and Boogeyman 2, and something like 17 serial killer direct-to-video movies made over the course of 4 years. Movies can cast light and shadow. Tenderness of the Wolves is all shadow, but, like the more recent Grim Love about German cannibal Oliver Hartwig, a fascinating look at the depths to which mankind can sink. Kurt Raab here, as Harman, also wrote the screenplay to this, so it's a very unusual combination of Fassbinder, Lommel, and Raab all together here, and what was not really sold as a horror film, but is incredibly horrific.